Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Adriana, and on this channel I do talk about marriage, parenting, and family. In this video specifically, I'm going to be talking to you guys about my twin pregnancy. I have other videos in regards to my twin pregnancy and my experience up to this point. So I encourage you to, first of all, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you're notified when I post more videos, and go ahead and check out some of my other videos. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. I did just want to address a couple of things before I started my video. Where I'm currently living, I'm outside watching the builders build. So if you hear any knocking, I'm not ignoring my kids or my husband. That is outside. But this is where I like to shoot my content. So we're just going to have to work with it. Also, I decided to write these questions down to keep myself in order because, you know, the pregnancy brain is literally in full effect. So I didn't want to try to memorize these 10 questions because I decided to do 10 and decide to elaborate when I feel it's appropriate. These questions are also not in any particular order, but these are questions that I've seen other people have. These are questions that I had myself. Also, guys, that was my ring light, okay? I have had that ring light for several months, and to be honest, I have been very rough with it. So it literally just kind of fell over, and I feel like the lighting is pretty good. So we're just gonna keep this show rolling. So the first question is, did we plan for twins? And the answer is heck no. And I don't want to make anybody who is trying to get pregnant with twins or multiples to take any offense to that, but just thinking about having two at one time, it's kind of nerve-wracking because you don't know really what to expect, if they'll be laid back or if they'll do what babies do. So we did not plan for twins. We actually tried prior to the twins and I miscarried, and then boom, here goes the rainbow, and it was actually not one rainbow but two. So I did not try. So I hope that answers the question for you guys. If you're wondering, did you do IVF? Is it because you're just a Black woman? Probably. But we definitely were not trying to have twins. But again, we are grateful that we are in this predicament now that we've kind of settled our nerves and have taken a break and can really fully enjoy and embrace this journey. The other question is does your family have twins? Because a lot of times they can be spontaneous twins if twins just don't run in your family. So I want to make a comment about that because here's why it's so important to talk to your family, to know your family history, because you could find out a thing or two. And so it was kind of funny, and I actually did a video early on, so go ahead and check that out. And that was just saying I was completely shocked, and my husband too. And if you go look at the shorts, I do have a video where I tell him that we're having twins and his voice quivers. It was hilarious. But yeah, we didn't think that having twins was a possibility. I mean, I'm not 35, no IVFs. We didn't think they ran in our family. And even to that question, the first people we found out that there was twins was on my mom's side. Her dad, so my granddad, had a twin aunt and uncle. And then his sister told me, my aunt, that there was another set of twins that they're currently about 17 or 18. So I'm okay, that's two, but very much spread out. And then on my dad's side, I just found out last week that he has a cousin that had a daughter that had twins. I'm okay. And then with my husband, I know his grandma had a sister that had twin girls. So no, they're not consistently flowing in our history, but the more that we talk to our family and ask questions, and the more that people are super excited about this news, they're coming forth about, oh yeah, this person was a twin. Oh yeah, this. So I'm oh, so the likelihood of us having twins wasn't necessarily 0 to none. It was there's clearly a possibility, but I really didn't think if anybody, I would be the one bearing twins. I'm I have sisters that don't have kids, a brother that doesn't have children like me though. So that answers that question. And I kind of touched on this, but I'll go into it again, was how did I feel initially when I found out? Well, first of all, I never thought, and that's what they say, never say never, that I would ever have twins or multiples. So when the lady was asking me questions, because she was like, yeah, have you always had single pregnancies and things of that nature? I was like, yeah. And then when she told me, it was almost like a, what? And I was like, she's playing, but she don't know me enough to like joke with me. And I don't think that's like something that they just would do. So I was like panicky. I cried, I laughed, and I said no a lot. That's basically like my initial reaction. And I couldn't wait to tell my husband. And so I was trying my best because I wanted to tell him immediately. But then I realized if I tell him as soon as I get out of here on the phone, I'm not going to get a awesome, priceless reaction from him that I can record and just send out. So I decided 4 or 5 minutes away from the appointment, let me speed home, and his reaction was literally priceless. So I was just like that for that initial time. I cried at the appointment, but when I got home, I was like, fine. I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do this thing. I'm one of those people who likes a challenge anyway. So I was like, yeah, we could do this. Let's go. Also, another question is, what did you think the genders would be? Now, for those of you who don't know me, I have a son and a daughter. I have my son first, who's 9, my daughter, who is 2. And based on singleton pregnancies, there's certain things that they say, like based on like heart rate, your cravings, morning sickness, things like that, you can kind of predict, or there's sometimes myth, what you may be having. So based on the heart rates, I thought I was going to be having girls at first because they were the same thing. It was like 150, then 153. And it wasn't until this last appointment that my son's heart rate was like a little bit lower, but still I was going off the heart rate. Then they had one where if your husband is craving sweets a lot, then you're having a girl, I think. And he just like started wanting these like oatmeal cookies from work. And then also I had really bad morning sickness, not throwing up, but literally all day just not wanting to eat, but being hungry at the same time. So I'm like, this is definitely girls. But as time progressed, I'm like, it could be one of each. But honestly, I was like, please be either 2 girls or one of each, because I don't think I could do 2 boys. I've had a boy first, and that was quite a journey. My husband, though, on the other hand, and this is question number 5, is he wanted at least a boy or 2 boys, because my 9-year-old is not his. Biologically, that's his bonus son. So he wanted that. So now we have the best of both worlds. And I'm going to throw this in here because I always say this, like, I think we're blessed and fortunate that we were able to have one of each, because we couldn't agree. If it was a singleton pregnancy, I'm like, okay, a girl, please. And then maybe I'll try for a boy. But I'm like, you know what? I get it knocked out, boy and a girl. And I told him, I don't want to think about another pregnancy for quite some time or ever. Like, I'm good with 4. I didn't plan on having 4. I didn't think it out, but you know, that's what happens when you get married. You find out, oh, you change things, or you consider and compromise. And that's why I compromised with having 3 at first, because I'm like, I can do that, but 4. So anyway, next one is, can you feel more than one? So that's such a funny question, because I actually thought that I would be able to feel like 2 babies inside, but depending on how they're laying, like on top of each other or whatever, it honestly feels like you're just getting kicked and punched at the same time. I can't differentiate between who is who, what is what. Now, as I continue to progress, because I'm 6 months, if I see 4 knees and 4 elbows and 2 heads and 2 butts, then maybe I may feel and see like I have 2 twins. But as of right now, I don't feel it all. And sometimes I can feel something up high and something down low, which just makes me feel like I have a big baby in there. So for those of you who are wanting to know, you really don't feel more than one. And if somebody says they can, I don't know. And then how early did I feel my flutters? So keep this in mind if you're a new mom. I felt my flutters at about 18 weeks, but that's because I've had 2 children before. So though they're flutters and very light, I know what they feel like. So when they came on, I was like, oh goodness. But usually when it's your first pregnancy, it could be 20 to 24 weeks, sometimes later. So if you're wanting to know, if you're like on your second pregnancy and you have twins, you could feel it also as early as 18 weeks. And how early did I see them move? So I would say, I think it was 22 weeks I felt, 22 weeks I could actually see them moving from the outside. I was sitting there watching TV, and it was like, boop, It was a slight move, but I caught it and I recorded it and I put it on like my social media platforms. And now that I'm 24 weeks, in that short period of time, I literally can see my stomach move. Like I don't have to like stare at it and like, is that a moving? I can literally see somebody kicking, punching, or turning. Now this question is probably going to be more of like a loaded question. And that is, what have I been doing differently in this pregnancy than my singleton pregnancies? And I could say across the board for the both of them, I have been eating different because, you know, I was young, like I think I was 19 or no, sorry, I think it was in my 20s, early 20s. And I was eating like buffalo wings, cheese pizza, fries, Dr. Pepper, coffee, bagels. Like that was just my jam, right? And so I did that and I had no problems, like no complications. And the only reason I had to have a C-section with my son was because of the epidural. I was not psychologically or mentally prepared to take on contractions and fight that and try to just do a natural birth. So it's the epidural that messed me up. Now with my daughter, I did eat a little bit better and I was way more active because at the time I had a cleaning business. So I was like, you know, cleaning a couple houses a week and I didn't even stop cleaning until about mid-October. So I was definitely more active. Now with this pregnancy, because of the complications I had with my daughter. So I did have preeclampsia at 37 weeks, which was scary to me because that's like life-threatening and I didn't feel any different. So I'm very grateful that I was kept from that. And so with this time around, I was researching very aggressively some things that I can do better this time around to prevent that, like what supplements are good, or just habits. So I started taking baby aspirin for months and that has really been doing amazing with my blood pressure. And I drink I try to drink at least every day or every other day a glass of pomegranate juice, which is also good for your blood pressure. And I think I'm going to also look into beet juice. I heard beet juice is good. Sometimes there's like beet supplements, but sometimes the supplements are very high potency. So just being careful with that. So I'm definitely being way more mindful. I'm drinking more water. I'm exercising. I am elevating my legs. I'm taking Epsom salt baths. So there's quite a bit of different things that I'm doing because I want to, of course, make sure that this is a great pregnancy. And I've also, you know, I do like crystals and I'm also doing a lot different with my subconscious mind and I'm not fearful and I'm speaking to the babies and I'm, you know, just telling my body positive things, that it's still healing and that I'm able to carry the twins and just a lot of stuff that I didn't know and wasn't exposed to with my first pregnancies. One of the things that I do is I talk to the twins like mid-morning. So I usually have to use the bathroom around like 3 and 4. So I go into the bathroom and I'm sitting there rubbing my stomach and just telling them like, you know, thank you for letting me, you know, be your mom and carry you. And I know that my body's capable of carrying you full term, no preterm labor, no complications. You guys are going to be super healthy. It's going to be a miracle how somebody who's considered plus size can go all the way basically to the end of her pregnancy with healthy. And honestly, I would love to try for a natural birth as long as there's no complications that would make that life-threatening. So I would say that's basically what I've been doing different. And the last question is, what's something you're experiencing during this pregnancy that I did not prepare for? And I like this question because, you know, there's certain things you think about a pregnancy. You think, oh, well, maybe I'll multiply whatever I feel in singleton pregnancy times 2. And there's actually 2 things that I am experiencing that I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be a long pregnancy. But then I tell myself, no, that's my subconscious mind heard that. Don't say that. Let's try to find something better to say. But the first thing was congestion. I have been congested and right now I'm not congested and it kind of comes in and out, but more so towards night and things like that. I'm congested. So I use like eucalyptus oil, put it under my nose, on my chest, and, you know, try to open some windows. But that is something I did not think was going to be something I had to deal with my entire pregnancy. I also use a neti pot every once in a while to like get out the mucus. And sometimes I wake up, blow my nose, and there's just blood. And I'm like, what the freaking heck. So that's not something I expected. They said you could kind of get a little bit, but I thought just like morning sickness and headaches and fatigue, it will be something that filtered out. But yet here we are going strong a couple months later. The other thing was I didn't expect myself to be insatiably hungry. Like, oh my goodness, like I'm constantly hungry. It's super expensive too, because kind of where I'm at, like I don't always have a taste for what's at home. It can change day to day. Sometimes I feel a little nauseous and hungry at the same time, which makes it very hard to know like what I want. And then I do try to balance, even though I take the aspirin, like nothing too salty, manage my sweet, drink some water. So I did not prepare that. I feel like, why am I hungry every single hour? And of course you guys like, just eat more, just do this. I'm like, I have eaten buffet sized plates, and like literally within an hour and a half, my stomach is like super empty. Like I feel like I didn't eat anything. So just being hungry all the time was not something that I thought would be that bad. I'm like, well, yeah, twins. I'm feeding myself and two other, but I was like, oh my goodness. Like I just need to put a couch right in the kitchen just so I can just pop in there and grab things as I go. So if you guys know anything that can help me stay more full, I mean, please put that in the comments, because I'm constantly like, I'm hungry. And I think one thing that has helped me with my weight is not eating every single time I'm hungry, but I still do eat when it's time to eat. And I don't eat like junk food. I'm not like, oh, I'm hungry right now, let me throw a donut down my throat. Oh, I'm hungry right now, let me eat some chips. I'm very mindful and try to go for more meal type things or things with substance before I go ahead and just like throw down a snack. So those were my 10 questions. Hopefully, if you're a new mom, second time mom, or third time mom going through this at the same time, first of all, congratulations. I would love to hear some of your experiences. If there was something that I didn't answer clear enough, or if you want more information, go ahead and put that in the comments, and I will do my very best to comment. You can also find me on my Instagram at gentlemillenialmomma. And I will also link that down in my description. But before I do go, I want to remind you once again, if you have not already, be sure to number 1, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and then hit that notification bell so you're notified when I post my next video. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. All right, sending you so much love and light.